Welcome everybody to Painting in France. I'm Simon and Monica's on the phone on the camera angle, and I thought we'd start out here this way. This is a glimpsing across our garden, and I think Monica's going to give you a quick twirl. Now let's go into the studio and get on with this painting. Okay, welcome. This is the studio at Painting in France here in the south of France, and today we're going to be painting this scene here, which is a painting I did based on a trip I did in 2005 overland to Kathmandu. Up until now we've been doing French scenes, but I thought no, let's, in this time of lockdown, as everyone's feeling safe, I thought we'd branch out and do a bit of travelling. So we're going to head east and go towards the Silk Road. Let's have a look at the painting.
And the desert.
Yes, you'll be pleased to know there is little, if any, sap green in the painting this week.
So is the picture below the painting, the acrylic painting that you did?
Roughly the reference photograph of the scene.
Yeah.
Actually, in the final drawing I've made that a bit smaller. This was an oil painting in progress that was hanging on the wall. And I've even found the original journal I did from the motorbike trip. And if you just look here, this was the original painting I did. Literally a biro and a little bit of watercolour. So there we are. I'll be talking more about the book and the paintings later on. There we go. So we might as well get started. I think I've got the drawing done. I confess once again I cheated and I just traced it through. But you can work from the photograph. I mean, keep it loose, keep it light, sketch your way there. And we'll start with the colour. As usual, cerulean blue I think is in order.
So we've got a few people. A few regular faces, Little
good.
French House,
Yeah.
Scott Gibbons and Eric.
Eric, good man. Well, I'm glad you're all here. I'm sure this is going to go worldwide later on. It's about 7 PM in Melbourne, I think. But you never know, the timings may be wrong. But we've shut the windows at the front of the studio this week because there were certain complaints the birds were too loud last week. So they're looking a bit quieter out there now. So anyway. I've got this scene drawn out. I've got my trusty cerulean blue. I'm going to wash on some blue sky and then come down with a general wash across the rest of the picture in a kind of Naples yellow and yellow ochre. That's the plan anyway. And I think once more and yet again I'm just going to go, you can go to the edge of the page, but I always like just sort of keeping it sort of sketchy and coming across there like that. What I'm going to do is just add a little bit of water to the paint. There we go.
Hi Karen, hi Malcolm, hi Mac, hi Robin.
Hi guys, hope you're all painting along, but I'll forgive you if you're not. So, well, just as you're giving a little bit of a wash of blue there, and now I'm going to come straight down across the rest of the picture. We're going to go back and put the mountains in a bit later on, but I've just got very pale, bit of a gap, very kind of pale Naples yellow.
Why the gap?
The gap. Well, I don't want it to go green. If you get your yellowy colours going too close to your blues, there is a danger. Oops, that's a bit strong. There is a danger that it'll be green, and that's never a good look. So I'm just going to literally just come across here. Long sweeping strokes. We'll put the shadows in later on. And here we go. I was going to have some really great Arabic music playing in the background. I recommend just tuning, if you're going to do the painting, tune in to Spotify and select a playlist. It'll just give it the right atmosphere.
Which one is the one you use?
I think it's called traditional Arabic music. But then I've read somewhere that if you put music, even if it's playing in the background on your video, they can stop it and ban you and take all your videos down. So I decided that wasn't such a good plan. Okay, we've got a bit of just a bit more yellow ochre, I think. That's got a little bit of yellow.
And a hi to Dan Moore and a hi from Dan Moore.
There you go, man. I hope he's got his paint out.
That's very strong.
It is a bit strong, but I'm hoping it's going to. I might even go back while it's still damp. You can adjust it but I'm just sort of putting this, there we go. Okay, I've got a nice kind of travel journal look about it.
It all seems a little fearless this week.
Fearless.
Was it the mood of the trip?
Absolutely, yeah, there we are. Yeah, while I've got it down, I'm just going to lighten that sunny side there a little bit with a clean damp brush.
Hi, Velda.
Hey, Velda.
Cold in Canberra.
Cold in Canberra. Oh, it's hot and sunny here in the south of France. It's going to be 28 degrees today. 28 degrees. Here we go. I might even take my jeans off, but not.
Da-da-da-dum, dum-dum, dum-dum.
Okay, what have we got? That's quite a nice sort of overall wash. And it's actually drying very quick. I was going to...
So I just missed that little bit. You literally just got some water onto your brush and
water
just...
on the brush, excuse me. I'm just going to dab that away. Because that's, if you look at the picture, that's quite a kind of light area. Lighter than even the background shadows. This is all going to come in quite dark. And so on. So that's kind of set the scene. Set the scene. So now... I'll let that dry a second, and we're going to put some distant hills in, and then some sweeping paint. It's actually going to be very quick. It looks quite a complicated picture, but I reckon we will be going home early. We'll be done enough, and I get along for coffee. Or wine in Canberra, maybe. 7 o'clock, is it 7 o'clock in there?
Eric says it's 20 degrees in my lounge in the UK.
In the UK as well, well, that's not too bad, yeah.
Is that with the heating on or off, Eric?
So, let me just... I'll carry on washing some distant hills in. I'm going to mix just a little bit of that sky blue. Oh, that's gone green now. Always have a little bit of paper around. It's always good to sort of try, if in doubt, try the colour out. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put some of this and a little bit of grey. What's in grey?
While you're busy with that, Angeli says she's zooming from Adelaide, but she missed the beginning. Angeli, this will go up onto the site after we've done the live, so you can always sort of kind of go back to the beginning and have a look.
That's right, yeah. I mean, basically we've got the drawing trace down, and we've just washed a little bit of sky in and some pale yellow ochre colour in the background just to set the tone. And now I'm mixing up some. We're going to do these sort of hills there in the background. Like I said, this could all go horribly wrong. But anyway, I'm just going to, here we go. Still got a big brush. There we go, distant hills. Slightly darken the sky, but not too much darker.
Guys, we've got quite a lot of people joining today, so we possibly won't be able to say individual hellos to everybody, but a big hello to everybody that has arrived so far.
So I've just sort of hinted a little bit at those. Try not to put it flat. I've just got to dabbing it in a bit of an angle. I'm going to put some brown in there as well. A little bit of yellow ochre, a bit of burnt umber. At this stage, we're just keeping it quite. Let me just sort of.
Is it actually snow on the hills?
It is snow on the hills there, yeah.
A particular, is it a known mountain range or?
It's not to me. It may well be a known mountain range, yeah. I mean, we're here, it's about 30 kilometres that way to the Iranian border. I stopped here back in, it wasn't that long ago, 2005, so that's, 15 years ago, isn't it? Oh, it was a mere boy. Hang on, what I'm just doing, I've got to keep going. So I'm mixing a little bit of blue, we're just getting some texture into it. See, I've got a little bit of movement, not just sort of flat. I'm kind of zigzagging down here, just sort of getting a little bit of shape in those hills. We could probably come back to those as well later on. I think they're probably a bit pale. That's quite nice though. Hints of snow, we can always put a bit of white on.
White?
White, no. In fact, there we are. I'll let that dry and then I'll start coming forward a bit. But yeah, this is the place.
You got your trusty tool?
Steady on, darling. What I've got to say is, this was a trip. I've shown you the painting from the journal, but this is the book that came out of the trip. The classic illustrated motorcycle diary, graphic novel, Tea with Bin Laden's Brother, available at any good bookshop. Well, it was. I think you might get second hand on Amazon now, but we are thinking of putting an ebook together. More on that soon. But here's I'll just give you a show of the page. This was, it's basic, kids. I started writing a journal and then added illustrations, and then I came back. And thank you, Monica. She sponsored me while I put the whole book together. And this was the page I realised was from where we're painting now. I've been riding into Turkey, eastern Turkey.
So that's just it from another slightly different direction.
That's right, yeah. Oh, just a bad drawing, I think. See the hills, background, not too bad, was it? Just from memory. And so I came, once you get into eastern Turkey, it just opens out, and it's just unbelievable. I mean, actually, briefly, I had a Turkish guidebook from God knows how old, and on the front cover of this guidebook was this fortress, this monastery, and I thought, wow, one day I will get there. It looks so exotic. And yeah, luckily I made it. I mean, more stories soon. But yeah, this is the last stop, the last beer you can have in Western Europe before you head for the Iranian border. Pressing on. Let's go. So, still got a big brush. I'm going to add a slightly stronger browny blue colour. Let's have a look to these hills here.
Just show them in the pan.
Yeah, I am just making it up as I go along. We're going to put the shadows in later on, so I just want to kind of just make these a little bit strong. I might put the shadows in first.
You don't have to make your mind up.
I will, yeah. No, I've got a little bit of Naples yellow and YellowOchre and burnt umber. But the key thing is really add a little bit of texture, a little bit stronger than the background. Excuse me. But don't make it too strong. What you don't want to do is too heavy here, because this is supposed to be distant sort of hills. There we are, let's have a little bit across here. I'll be putting stronger shadows in here later on.
So that's actually a city that sits behind us. So is the town or the city, is that actually in Iran?
This is still in Turkey.
This is all in Turkey?
Yeah, this is still, this is a little town fondly known as Dog Biscuit. It's actually called Dolgobayzit, which is quite a quirky frontier town, really. It was pretty basic and fly-blown kind of place, which is why, funnily enough, I know what it was. I looked at my Lonely Planet guide, and it said this was the place to stay, because, in fact, I'm going to read it out. Carry on painting, just putting those colours in.
For me?
Where was it? The section I've actually quoted out of the book. So here we are. So are you listening? So all the overlanders stop here, the guidebook had said. The food is excellent and the place really rocks in the evening, with locals joining overlanders for the last beer before it ran. I mean, who is going to drive past this place? I went straight up there, wrestling my bike through the gravel and stones up to this place. We've got a little room there, and went down to the bar thinking this is going to be an amazing evening. But I contemplated this as I sat alone in the restaurant. Alone, that is, except for a bored waiter and a man with a keyboard playing what sounded like Turkey's entry to the 1972 Eurovision Song Contest. Rocking? It wasn't.
Okay.
So that was the end of that one.
Could you ever find out why?
Well, I think it was 2000, but it was a difficult time politically.
Yeah, so things had changed.
In fact, I noticed in my journal I wrote, I could turn around now. I've seen Eastern Europe, I've gone to the Mediterranean, the eastern end of the Mediterranean, Eastern Turkey, a hint of the desert, a hint of the Middle East. I could turn around.
Back onto painting.
Back on the painting.
Robin has asked, mountain colour, please.
Mountain colour. In the background, I've got a little bit of sky blue mixed with the kind of watery burnt umber. I'm trying to avoid sap green. You added
a little Payne's grey to that as well, didn't you?
I think there was actually, yeah. And here I've just got the, once again, a little bit of burnt umber.
It's a good thing one of us has got a memory.
Well, yeah. I'm going to mix a little bit of burnt umber and the cerulean blue, which gives you that sort of slightly dusty, distant look. And I'm going to start putting some. Basically, there's a nice. What I like about this picture is the change of light and shade. There's strong shadow, which I'm thinking it's partly a low sunlight, it's partly clouds in the sky. we're going to come back and put stronger ones on, but I've got this what sort of colour is that? Oh, that's quite good. So as you can see, we've got a few hills here in the foreground. We're just going to, I'm going to change my brush in a minute. This one's falling to bits.
Rosie Strange is watching. Are we going to have a French entry this week?
We hope so.
We haven't had any French entries yet, have we?
No, I think the regulars have all put the feet up by the pool. So yeah, I'm just going to putting just like a little hint of into these hills here, and if you put a little bit of dark there behind, it just makes these stand out. At the moment it's still quite sort of sketchy. We can strengthen this up. I'm going to put a little bit more. Look at that lovely plane across there. Lots of just a deep breath and a nice long horizontal stroke there. But what's quite nice, if you get as your brush dries out, it kind of breaks up, giving you a hint. I'm painting over the building, so I'm hoping I can mix up a strong enough paint to cover all that. So I'm just putting that in there.
So you're not really leaving any sort of white, apart from a bit of sort of hints of snow and things like that.
Yeah, that's it. It's just sort of I'm trying to hint at the shape of the rocks. And we had someone, Marilyn actually, who can you do something about sand and rocks? And here we go, sandy and rocky application. She also wanted to know how to do some trees, but there aren't any in this one. But it's really, with mountains, it's not putting it flat on. Try and get a hint at the shape of the rock, the shape of the shadows, leave some, some fine lines, this kind of thing.
You're keeping it very loose as well, aren't you?
Very loose. Today's a loose day, yeah. And I'm going to put a little bit of shadow in. Actually, I've missed a bit out here. There's a nice little border here.
That's.
I'm going to put it around. It's quite nice little. A little bit of rock there, and I'm going to just put a bit of shadow in down there, look. And that's going to make it all stand out. Yeah, that's better. There's a little hill over here as well. So that's okay. A little bit of Payne's grey in the brush now, just to sketch at this little roadway.
Doha has arrived.
Doha has arrived, excellent Doha now there. They'll be smacking their forehead thinking, great, we'll have another little lush French scene with painting a desert scene, which is they'll probably be logging off shortly.
It's not that dissimilar to some of the areas around Qatar, is it?
Okay, so as you can see, that's a bit of Payne's grey just to hint at the track. And it was a track when I went there. Oh yes, and the tarmac, I think it's tarmac. Now they're slowly renovating this building. In fact, I was looking at some photographs. Always a good way to do it. If you've got a scene you like and you remember you've been there, Google Images, just download a load of pictures of the scene, and then you can draw a compilation, using these as reference material, which I did. So this isn't the exact view that I'm painting now. I kind of moved it around a little bit.
You said it had almost looked like it had gotten slightly bigger, or was it just?
They've got originally when I was there was no roofs here or anything. They've actually looks like they put some roofs in. Some of the buildings have been. This wall was renovated, but no, good for them.
That roof almost looks like it's solar panels.
Yeah, it does.
Which is not impossible.
So here we go. Right now, I think I'm just going to take a Payne's grey and a little bit of magenta. Yes, a bit of magenta, and this will be a really nice sort of shadow colour.
I mean, is that actually magenta? It's not what I would classify as magenta.
Okay, it's the colour I've got here in my palette, which may well be magenta. I'm not going to sign anything. But what I'm going to do,
so let me just actually look at that colour a little closer, because it's...
This one here, that one's quite a violet. This is a bit more magenta.
It's more like a wine red, isn't it?
Wine, yeah. Maybe it's alizarin crimson. Ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of very good YouTube tutorials out there with people who know a lot more than me. But believe me, I've watched them. So now we're going to put some alizarin crimson in and we're going to paint this on very carefully like that. So now we're going to put a little bit more. How many times I've fallen asleep on my keyboard and woken up with it impressed in my forehead. No, don't go there. This is much more fun. So we've got a watery Payne's grey and what could be magenta, it could be alizarin crimson, but you know what I mean, it's a sort of reddish grey. And we're going to paint, actually I've found another mountain over here. That's quite good. I've got a slightly smaller brush now. Same kind of thing. keep an eye on that, sort of the gaps here and there. I'm just leaving a little bit of gap. And then this one, yeah, we've got a bit of a short shadow there, that's quite nice. But yeah, keep referring back to your picture, but don't, we're not doing photorealism here, as you can tell, but by just having that nice strong shadow in, it just makes the mountains jump out.
What are we going to do with all these pieces of work that you've been creating?
One day we'll make a fortune, darling, when I sell these at an exhibition in New York. It may not be in my lifetime, but we'll see. Fingers crossed. Okay, so yeah, like I said, I did a painting earlier, I'll show you. I went on too dark too soon, and then you're kind of committed. But you can see, slowly, now let's have a little bit of clean damp brush. I'll just blend that a little bit. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? So we've got that, and then those distant hills. I might come back into those hills a bit later on, but what I'm going to do now, another deep breath, I'm going to go across here. I'm going to go all the way, yeah, come on. You can almost like rest your finger on the page and go.
So you're using that, just show us again. Now let's see if I can show people how you...
I kind of like, you sort of get your finger on the...
I'm just going to get in behind it,
It just
yeah?
sort of helps you do that kind of thing.
Okay.
If you try and do it like that, it's like, whoa, reckless behaviour. So this is best if you it's almost like you're writing on it. Yeah. Keep those nice and horizontal. I want to leave a little bit of a gap. Now I'm going to make colour a little bit stronger. Oh, that's a bit weird, isn't it? Like I said, keep trying things out, make it a little bit stronger. Try down a bit of scrap of paper, and then we want to, let's go across here a bit. I want to kind of, it's not quite the same as the original, but we don't care. I'm just going to start that about there.
It's an artistic interpretation, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's probably a bit strong. I'm going to actually try and avoid the tower on this one. That's very strong, isn't it? I'm hoping that's going to lighten up. Let's get that.
I mean, if you decide now that it's too strong, can you again just run a wet brush over it just to lighten it off a little?
You can actually run away. Because, it's almost impossible to rectify.
Don't make me laugh.
But we've got that. I think we'll be okay because watercolour does lighten. And we've got, if you just kind of dabbing a few little verticals in here to hint at the buildings. You see what I mean? See what I've done there?
The city in the background.
And then...
You're quite clever, aren't you?
Well, I try my best. There we are. It is all about that horizontal thing going on. You know, those long shadows across there.
Yeah.
See, now, I might actually strengthen that one up because if you look, it does fade. There we are. Let's make it a bit stronger.
Ness said, looking good, chaps. Thanks, thanks, Nessie.
We pay her a lot of money to say that. Right, coming forward a little bit. Actually, what I'm going to do, that's sort of taking shape. I'm going to let that dry, and I might go back. I'm going to go back in with a few more hints of colour. But what I will do, while I'm at it, I'm going to go back to the. We're only really using a few colours here.
Yeah, it's quite a limited palette, isn't it?
That's the word. Burnt umber and a little bit of Payne's grey. And I'm going to put a little bit of...
I mean, I noticed you actually do have green in your palette. Are you intending to use it, or is it...
I'm trying to avoid it. I am, after the amount of flack I had by promoting of Payne's grey, I thought, oh, I'm trying to avoid that. But, so what I'm doing now, actually I'm going to use a slightly bigger brush. Let's keep it loose. I've got this kind of burnt umber and Payne's grey mix. I'm just going to put some initial sort of, that's too weak, so make it a bit stronger. I'm just going to slowly put a little bit of shadow in here, look. Where are the shadows are here? It can be quite loose, let's just keep it loose this week. Bold brush strokes, we don't care. There we are. Try to think, once again, I'm almost getting the finger down there and almost drawing this in like I'm painting with a pen, and I'm going to...
Hayden Davies.
Hayden, greetings, good man.
Hi, Dan and Simon.
Hi, Dan, yeah, so it's like a social get-together.
Who's Dan and Simon?
Dan, somebody's Dan Moore, he goes Dan Moore.
Oh, okay,
It's
all
from
right.
me.
Oh,
It's my
okay.
show. It's my, he's talking to me. Okay, never mind chatting to your friends. Concentrate. Right. So we've got that. I'm just putting some burnt umber and grey look. Just see where the that kind of main shadow is. Still keeping it quite loose. Yeah, let's keep it loose today. We're going to come and do more of that. But as you can see, if you can see this kind of picture here, can you feel that?
Yeah, which seems to be quite a reddy brown, which you...
Ooh! I haven't used any red yet. I might do. This will be redder. Don't worry. Okay, I'm going to put a bit of red in now. There we are.
Sorry, I'll stop heckling.
Right, here we are. Try and use a reddy brown if you can. Sorry? There we are. I'm just going to put... Yeah, we're just sort of putting those shadows in. I'm just going to put a little bit on there, like that. Try to keep thinking of that low sunlight catching the building and the tower. And I'm going to put a little bit of that. I might be changing this a bit later on.
Margaret, good to see you. From
Margaret,
from Canberra as well.
Canberra. Ah, excellent. Good to see you. Good to hear you. There we are. What do you think? It looks a bit kind of strange at the moment, but it will make sense.
Will it?
It will. And a little bit more shadow in there. And where's the oil?
Do you know, I feel like by the end of this I should be able to paint.
That's the idea. That's the general idea, darling. There we go. There's a little bit of shadow there. So that is, it's taking shape. I'm almost there. Well, what I mean is, actually I must go back there. It'd be fantastic to ride a motorbike back there just to see how it's all changed. Actually, the funny thing is, I'll let that dry a little bit now. The funny thing is, don't yawn. I can see can't get started.
Sorry.
It's an interesting story. Right. The next morning, I rode down this hill, and of course, I have absolutely nil off-road experience. So this is like a sort of gravel track. It was like quite tortuous, rough road, rocks. But hey, I was an adventure motorcyclist, so this was part of the brief, and it was only going to get tougher beyond this point. Anyway, halfway down, I didn't get a photo of it. A massive dog came out and chased me, and it was like a wolf. It's like a mangy wolf, and it chased. Needless to say, I became the best Dakar rider you've ever seen, sliding about. We ran outside and down the reserve areas for my heartbreak. I lived to tell the tale, and then from there I went east to the Iranian border. My God, that's the next story, isn't it? But not today. Okay, where are we? I think what I can do, is staying with a biggish brush. See, we've got these nice strong shadows. I'm actually going to put a little bit of this. It's an easy painting mix today. I'm going to put a little bit of that sort of burnt umber and Payne's grey, and I'm just going to put a little bit in here, I think, just sort of maybe beyond there.
I'm not in your way.
No, that's fine. Let's go across here. Just sort of, we're just adding a little bit of mysterious texture.
Hello, South Africa.
Hello, South Africa. How's it? Oh, that's okay. It does dry, but there we are. That's good. So as you see, we're coming for. Shall I put a bit more? What do you think? Shall I put a bit more dark in there?
Yeah, I think the hills are, but at the same time, I think it needs a little bit. Not too much, though.
Not too much. You can never go back on a watercolour. I mean, what happened is, some bloke put this shadow in really strongly, and those mountains in the background have
kind of disappeared.
So I'm going to just add a little bit of, Payne's grey, maybe a little bit of blue. It's kind of bluey shadow there, isn't it? Not so much of your red stuff. I'm mixing a little bit, I think it's Ultramarine and Payne's grey, and just, let's have a look. Where are we? That's a bit of, oh!
Is this the point where you run away?
It is. I'll see you next week, everybody. Damp brush, the work of a professional. I'm just sort of putting in, I think there's a bit more blue actually.
Felder says it's heat haze. I think she's talking
Heat haze.
about your...
Oh, look at that. What's going on?
You're not learning, are you?
I'm not, are you? So, yeah, what we've got here is, I put that on a little bit strong, but you'll be pleased to know I will survive. What I'm going to do, I've got a little a damp, clean brush. I'm just sort of blending that in now. There we are, just the effect I was after. Let's have a look. It does kind of, those hills do disappear, you see. So
Yeah, so you don't want it everywhere, do you?
no, I'm just going to put, down, just put a slightly lighter in. That's all right. I'm trying to keep that sort of diagonal thing going on. I'm hoping those are going to fade back a little bit. So certainly in the distance, to listen to me, err on the side of caution and lightness. Let's go across there. I think we'll be okay.
Eric said tissue paper, quick.
Tissue paper quick, I might do that, although I quite like the sort of gravelly, the sort of wedgy look as well.
You must remember these guys are a few seconds behind us. So
okay. Well,
when we get the comments, we're actually seeing them a few seconds
yes,
after.
true, yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah. What did you say? What was the comment again? I can't remember.
Tissue paper quick.
Tissue paper, yes. Actually, that's always good to have on hand. That'll be fine. That will fade back nicely. See, these are quite nice and dry. I can always make that a little bit stronger. Where are we now? Good look.
Finished, aren't we?
Finished. Get the coffee on. I mean, the funny thing is, I spent most of my time in Turkey trying to find good coffee. I mean, coffee. I read that I lived in Vienna for a while, and they said, coffee. The coffee houses of Vienna started by the Turkish. So I'm thinking, Turkey is going to be full of fantastic coffee shops. No, it's not. They all drink tea, just black tea. And in one particular place, it may well have been very close to here. I was in a little outdoor cafe, quite a large courtyard, and I asked the guy, the little young guy, stop yawning, you're yawning. It's a really interesting story. I asked this kid who was a waiter, I said, can I have I really like a Turkish coffee. I mean, any coffee would be great. He came back about half an hour later, and he got a little cup and saucer with a little sachet of Nescafe in it. I nearly hit him. I said, this is Turkey, the home of Turkish coffee. I think it's because it takes longer to do. I don't know, I'm surprised anyway. But while I was here, I did smell coffee, and what it was, there was a Swiss couple travelling by Land Rover, overland. Is it Land Rover? Let's say it's Land Rover, it's more romantic than Toyota. And they were brewing coffee, and it caught my nostrils like that.
Did you go begging?
I went begging, I went, can I buy some coffee off you? They invited me, and of course we had a wonderful evening. I drank all their coffee and then disappeared the next day. But bizarre. Right, I think that's taking shape nicely. That's a little bit strong in the background, but we'll worry about that later. I'm going to make these a little bit stronger now. Oh my god! So a little bit of burnt umber, perhaps a little bit of magenta, and a bit of Payne's grey.
Can you test it out, please?
Let's test it out. Oh, that's okay. Yes, okay. Yeah. What I want to do is in the painting, you see, the master painting, he's got it quite strong down here. If you look at the difference, that was quite. What's nice is that if you make it dark here, that shines out. So I'm going to take a go at this. Let's have a look. I'm just going to. Oh yes. What you need to do as well is every time you put an extra layer on, make sure the layer beneath is dry and kind of that the paint you're painting on is a little bit thicker. Otherwise, it kind of all sort of bubbles up and goes horribly wrong. So this is I'm just going to side of the brush, big kind of slabby brush strokes. Let's keep that there. That's quite nice. Stand back. Oh yes, that's got atmosphere. If only I could be playing the music and you'd just be all transported. I'm just going to put. See,
I could try singing.
You could. You're setting Millie off then. What I've done here, look, another little free tip. I'm painting the shadow around the back of this mountain, so it stands out. Oh yes. Let's have a little bit, just a little bit here. She's kind of going down the road. Maybe a little bit. Let's have a little bit there.
Oh, sorry.
Hey, it's terrible. I thought we had an early night.
My apologies. Simon had an early night. I couldn't fall asleep.
Oh. The thing is not to... There we go. I might come back with a little pencil here later on, but that's... Yes, that's okay. So that's that. Let's go over that side there. I think we can put some here as well. This is really quite strong here. This is rock felt. Let's do that. Oh, Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we can put a little sort of, oh, it's quite nice, yeah, if you get it right. Put a few bold brush strokes just across there. So this then comes forward from the actual fortress itself. Just sort of a mixture of wide brush strokes. Sometimes with a dry brush you get that nice little texture. A lot of it's, what do you mean accidental? Yeah. So that's nice, yeah. There we
It's
go.
practice.
Practice, yeah. Experiment on a little bit of paper. If it looks a bit weird, put a few more little lines in. So that's the nice thing about this style of brush, is you get a kind of the variety of sort of wider brush strokes, and you can use it.
Is this one of your travel brushes?
It is one of the travel brushes, ladies and gentlemen. These are the great set. I recommend them from the SAA, and you get about 4 brushes, different sizes, and they all click off. Ah, see if that goes in there. And before you know, you've got
the perfect set to take on a motorbike trip.
The perfect set to take on a motorbike trip. All you need then is the motorbike, and away you go.
Bit of a problem there, isn't it?
In fact, I'll just show you. This was the historic little kit. This will be selling for thousands of pounds in Sotheby's one day.
So is that all you took on your bike trip with
That's
you?
all I took on my bike trip, yeah. So this all folds together. Dun, 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 dun. It all folds up into a tiny little package, and I've got some pans of colour there, and that's all you need. Take a few of these brushes, water in there, and away you go. Which is perfect for working on the journal. So a little biro sketch, painting with a brush, a little bit of watercolour, job done. And in fact, there is a video on YouTube about, well, there will be more videos on YouTube, how to paint with a journal. I'm going to be doing more of those. So moving on, what have we got? I think I'm going to leave that. We've got a nice sort of layers of stuff coming forward here, and I'm going to add a little bit of warmth, I think, to this building. The working plates, the brown was slightly reddy brown, and I hadn't got a reddy brown, so I'm just going to put a little bit of, well, why not? A little bit of...
So that's cadmium red?
Cadmium red, indeed.
See, I'm learning.
You are, that's good. Let's have a little scrap paper.
Belda was saying, brilliant thing to take. She has one too.
Ah, there we are. That's good.
Belda is a lady who does some amazing tours out into the outback in Australia.
Yes, we want to go on one. Can we come on one? And okay, I'm just going to, what have we got? Let's try and pull this away from the background. So I'm going to just try a little bit of burnt sienna and yellow ochre. Let's have a look. Let's just make that a little bit stronger. What should we start? Here.
Because the building is almost slightly warmer in colour than the surrounding landscape, isn't it?
Let's just do that.
Ooh.
Oh my god. Okay. And then just spread that down. The nice thing is it's kind of broken rock as well, broken stonework.
So how was this? I mean, was this building literally just sort of plaster and daub, or, you know, was it...
I mean, it was obviously...
Did it look like it was a plastered finish rather than just stone? Because it looks like it's been plastered in the local...
That was a job, wasn't it, for the plasterers? Can you imagine get the scaffolding up there? I probably think it was something a little bit... Oh, I'm not concentrating. My wife's asking me questions.
Erica said, mountain looking good now. Nancy's gone,
Yeah.
Hi, Simon Monica, great depth of field.
Excellent, that's what we like. We like a bit of depth of field.
And, yeah, Belda's said, all up in La La Land at the moment. Yeah, Belda, I think we all feel like that.
Yeah,
And
it's a strange time.
Di Peters has joined us. Hi from
Right.
Toowoomba, Queensland, Australia.
Umber. Wow. Once again, we've got a global event going on, ladies and gentlemen.
And she said, would
your
love
friend.
to hear more about drawing, painting, journaling.
Okay. I'll get a team of experts on that and do some a little bit more.
Oh, sorry. And Eric said it's probably been built from sandstone.
Built from sandstone, that's probably the case. Yeah, I should imagine they're using... I mean, if it's a fortress...
I like that reddy colour.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll leave that. The little dome is going to stand out. I might have to use a bit of white in the tower. You're right, I mean, it's plaster. I can't imagine a fortress. They're going to have the lads up the ladder doing a nice finish, you know. It's not like a holiday bungalow they're making, is it?
No, but I mean, you kind of remember when we were in Morocco, in those Casbahs.
Yeah.
A lot of those were kind of almost done out of bricks that were a kind of red, sandy colour.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that had obviously been created from the local surrounding sand and then baked.
Yeah, good point. We'll do a little bit more research into that. The actual place is called, I think it's Ishak, hang on. Ishak Pasa Sarayi fortress. Like I said, it's about 30 kilometres from the Iranian border, little village of Dogabazit, which is actually bigger than I remember when I was there. Okay, so this is now, I'm just getting a little bit of burnt sienna, slightly reddish brown for these. We've got these little towers, haven't we? Very carefully paint those in. There we go. And hopefully it's not going to run everywhere. I mean, it's a fascinating building. I mean, it's quite... congratulations to anyone who's actually drawn this, because it's quite a tricky little thing. I've drawn it several times and they've all been different. In fact, I did a... Oh, this is running down there. Look. The challenges of watercolour. But that is the joy. If you keep it in quite a loose style, I think you can get away with it. Let's have a look bit there. And that's, let's go down there.
And the minaret.
And the minaret, I might just...
Did they have the call to prayer and stuff from it?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay, so it was a working mosque.
I believe so, yeah.
Yes.
I didn't get called. I mean, that is a haunting that I had hoped to have the call to prayer playing as we walked into the studio. It's a haunting sound. Anyone who's travelled in these kind of regions will know. Unless, of course, you're living in Doha and it, I should imagine it can,
wakes you up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Can wear a bit thin. So there we go. That's still not really standing out there, is it? I've probably gone a bit too dark. No, never. Let's just put a little bit of something. I'm going to come back. And then I'm going to have to dry that and then put some stronger shadows in. Let's do that.
Eric says sandstone can be hand carved with a wood store when nearly dug and then it goes hard. Yeah, I remember because we used to live in Bath, Eric, and I actually used to live up just above the stone mines and they used to...
Keep talking.
And they used to literally be able to hand carve the sandstone out of the mines that coom down.
Useful gadget just to speed up the drying process. It is good to put a layer on and let it dry before you add the next layer of colour. Otherwise it just keeps it looking sharper. If that's the look you're looking for. Alright. So, right. Next. Anyway, so how's everybody enjoying the slightly exotic location? We may go back to the French, or we may press on, who knows, around the ancient East.
Well, we were kind of trying to sort of tie in some of my food and the painting, weren't we?
Yeah, because tomorrow at this time, Thursday morning, 11 o'clock French time, Monica's doing a live cooking tutorial at the Courtyard Kitchen
France, yeah.
So she's been doing a sort of falafels and all the accompaniments.
Yeah, Arabic shortbreads and...
shortbreads.
Not shortbreads, I've done it again.
Oh.
Flatbreads.
Flatbreads. There we go. So we thought we'd just sort of tie together just for a bit of fun. So next week we may even go to Greece. Wasn't there talk of going to Greece?
There was talk of going to Greece.
Who fancies going to a Greek island? Nice little beach scene. Old, maybe Simi. Simi's nice.
Yeah, evoking some
What would you cook for Greece?
Grecian memories. Souvlaki.
Souvlaki.
I mean, all sorts of things one can cook in Greece.
As usual, I'm getting distracted. Normally this takes about 3 hours. We have a class here and I get people started, then I wander off and wander around, have a little coffee, come back again, have a biscuit, bit more painting. But actually, it's hard work. It's hard work doing it live, non-stop. So anyway, okay, what I'm going to do now, I've got a nice sort of reddish browny grey colour.
We're getting some thumbs up.
Just that's the sort of colour I've got. That's quite good. No, is that all right, darling? Would you approve of that? I'm looking for the strong shadows. Let's have a look. What I want to do is come.
I will bow to your superior experience,
well,
Simon.
That's what I like to hear. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, so I'm going to go mad here. I'm putting this.
Angeli Theodorus has said, like the different locations. Yes, Greece, please.
Ah, right. Okay, we could be on to a virtual world painting holiday, everybody. In fact, yeah, put some requests in. Where do you want us to go? And we will go, and I'll do a painting there for you. Right. Anyway.
So Eric has said, grew up from the age of 3. Doesn't want to let me see more. In the Middle East.
Okay, yeah.
His father was in the army. Earliest memories were sitting on Dad's knee, driving and then it says see more, and when I press the screen, it won't let me see it, unfortunately. Oh, driving across the sand flats.
Wow. They didn't have those in Birmingham where I grew up.
And we have another painter from South Africa watching.
Oh, great.
Carl, hiya.
Welcome. This is live from France.
Carlos.
Based, we're painting a scene set in on the Iranian and Turkish border. And I'm making, this is an old fortress and a monastery. And I'm just kind of putting this in together as I go along. I did a watercolour, just to recap, I did a sketch based on a number of paintings and reference photographs. And now I'm slowly building the colour up, starting lightly in the background, getting stronger in the foreground. And I'm trying to keep it loose, not too tight, because it's quite a complicated little building here. So I just want to try and make that wall different there. I might just give it a very light wash of this.
No, leave it.
What, there?
There, okay.
There, just there.
Yes,
just
okay.
Very lightly.
I thought you meant the wall in front of it. I thought, no, that looks fine.
No, but I have been known to put paint on a bit too strong, so I'm just going to hopefully take a deep breath. Oh yeah, that's okay. What we want to see by just adding a little water, and now I'm going to clean damp brush and just go, oh, that's all right.
And then are you going to do anything about the... Oh no, you've got that little hint of shadow in the central courtyard, haven't you?
Yeah, hopefully that will do something. That'll be all right. Actually, I'd love to go. Like I said, I'd love to go out to this area again. Who knows, travelling by motorbike or Land Rover and taking some painting equipment with us this time, not just a little journal. To actually stand there, with dogs attacking my feet.
I don't think they'll like Millie.
They wouldn't like Millie. No, I think you're right.
She'd be a complete wimp out there, wouldn't she?
She'd be useless. She'd be like barking out the window of your Land Rover.
And she's lived the soft life out here.
As soon as she got outside, she'd just be cowering underneath it. Do you know, I'm not going to do too much more to that.
I don't think you should. But what about your little windows?
The little windows, yes.
But now that's all wet.
That's wet, so I'm going to let those dry, and then I can dab some windows in. I'm going to put a little bit of white to get on there, because actually, if you look, there's little kind of...
Yeah, let's...
There are some little stripes in there. That may be just...
I think that's detail
Detail we don't need at this stage.
Sorry, I'm turning into an armchair painter, aren't I?
She's yawning. Next minute, she's prodding me in the chest, telling me what to do. Welcome to my life. Oh, it's quite nice. There's a little bit more dark down there. No, I think I'll do that. What I will do, add a little bit of white to one of the colours, just to try and lift that minaret away from the background. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you could have used masking fluid and now be confident that you're rubbing that off, but no, I've got...
But after our hairdryer disaster the other week, I think we'll...
The disaster last week where it all fused together, I thought, no, let's...
Cheat.
Maybe I can do a little bit of... I'm mixing some white, a little bit of Naples yellow, and... a little bit of burnt sienna, but it's all looking a bit fleshy. I'm not sure if this is going to work. I just wanted to kind of lift that edge. Oh, there we are.
We can't see it, so it's going to be a great reveal.
No.
Oh yeah.
Just enough just to lift that out. Is there any more little white bits? No. Oh, what's this? Bit of stonework. But no, okay, I think that's quite close. So what I'll do, I'll take a smaller brush. This is now a bit smaller. I'm going to dab some windows in.
Is that dry?
Yeah, good question. No, it looks a bit...
Nice one.
Okay, I've got the... Right, I'm going to dry this wall off.
I'm saving you, love, from yourself.
Yeah,
can you imagine if you had to all lose it in the last minute?
Oh my God, can you imagine losing that live in front of the world?
Oh, I know. You'd never live it down, would you?
Down, no. So I'm just going to lose that. That dries that off. Stop. There we go. And a small brush and some Payne's grey. What would we do without Payne's grey? It's a little bit softer than black. Yes, you can always add water to black, I guess, and mix assorted colours to make it. But
Daya said she loves all your exotic locations.
oh, that's what we like to hear. Here we are. Look, so now this is dry.
Thanks, Hayden.
I can put that in there. Look at that. That's now jumping out, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let's have a few more down here. Just a quick little dabs. Put a few more in there. Maybe there's some here.
Do you know what you have missed out as well? Can I point it out?
You can.
There's that thing called a gateway just over here.
Gate. Ooh. Gate.
That door.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because I was just coming to that. I might just put a few lines in. Here we are.
I quite like this armchair painting.
Armchair, yeah. Actually, I should have a chair while I'm working away here. Don't mind the camera woman, camera person. I'm just going to put a few little things in it, just here and there. No, I don't know. No. Okay, I'm just going to hint at the doorway. It's a kind of strange doorway. I read that this once had gold-plated doors, probably 15 feet high, on the entrance of this place.
That's incredible.
In the book, it actually says they were nicked by the Russians in the First World War.
What?
Yeah. And they're now in some museum, I think in St. Petersburg. So,
well, I mean, the British Museum has the same.
They only got nicked by the Russians because the British didn't get there first. I'm not really going to do any more. So put a bit of colours. I mean, what's nice actually, and I've missed a little bit. Let's just put some sort of darker sections through the doorways there. And here there's a little bit. Just going to show there's the doorway going through. I mean, I might do a little bit of drawing on it. I don't know. I think that's fine. Maybe just a hint. What we wanted was that sort of layered look. Yeah, the mountains standing away from those layers. This sort of wall. Let me just put a little there. There's something there. That really works, not quite.
Simon, you know when you start tapping your students' hands away from their painting,
that's right.
And you always say, "Step away from your painting."
Yes, that's right. I kind of blow a whistle and put your brushes down and walk away. So it's probably actually already got to that point. I could let that dry. Let me have a little go with one of these pencils, which I can't find. Yeah, these are. This is
Is this one you're trusting?
Watercolour pencils. I'm just because I don't want to put any more paint on really. So I'm just going to hint at almost sketchy, like it's like, oh, this is just a sketch I threw together. This is actually for if Marilyn watches this is quite a useful technique for rocks as well. Once you've got your big slabs of colour in there, a nice sort of variation of shapes, you can still kind of go over the top, sort of randomly putting some rocky kind of details in. Maybe this could be a little bit stronger here, look. But don't just draw on it solidly like a fat pen. Just kind of sketch, just sort of lightly. There we are. A bit more going on. So picking out just a few little walls here and there, just to tie it together. There we are. There we are. There may be some people going, "No, don't do that. It's fine as it is." But actually, I quite like it. This was the road which kind of leads you back into the picture, and then on my original, one of the original paintings. In fact, here, there's this mystical road heading east to the border, a little hint of a truck on there.
Is that the road that you then took?
That's the road I then took, yeah. But I'd have to do it with a little white line in there, I think.
Hi, Denny.
But anyway, so let's put a few little things in there.
Ah, you finally got your little things in.
That kind of thing. I didn't put little colours in there. Do you know what I think? Shall we stop there? What do you think?
I think it looks absolutely fine.
Absolutely fine. In fact, I'll show you one I did earlier, about 10 minutes ago, before we went live. This was a quick sketch. Now this has got some disasters in. You see, I started painting the extra dark on here, and I got it too watery, and it all goes like this, which is horrible. But there's a certain freshness about it, which I quite like. Often, I recommend, if you can, do a small sketch first, try the colours out, and then do the real thing. Because actually doing that really helped me, because this would have been a real challenge. There's a lot going on here, with the lights and
Well, I suppose it's a bit like a sculptor doing a maquette first, isn't it?
Well, that's it. It's how not proper artists should work. So
Or little thumbnails.
that was good. So I'd like to say thank you for watching. And looks like we're probably going to go home early this week.
Sylvia Grad says, do you mind if I add a palm tree into my painting?
Palm tree?
I think out there even a palm tree would struggle to survive.
It could be a dead one, yes. Or a forlorn one. Or with one throng. One throng.
There's one throng. Honey.
Yes, of course you can. Of course you can. In fact, there were some sort of scrubbly little trees up here, but there weren't any palm trees. There were some you could always have an overhanging branch, or possibly something. Yeah, go on. I'll let you know. If I was going to put a palm tree in, I'd put it inside, like a sort of well-watered courtyard, that kind of thing, rather than here. But it's your painting. You can do what you like with it. But anyway, thanks for watching this. There are more superb video tutorials on YouTube, and we'll be doing some more next week. But don't forget, if you want to have the full flavour of the Middle East, come back tomorrow morning at the same time and find Monica on the Courtyard Kitchen France, where she'll be going live. And I'm looking forward to lunch tomorrow for that very reason. Okay guys, thanks for calling and thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Okay? Bye.